I already know, just off the topic of this video alone, there's gonna be some controversy. You know what? I'm going for the second most disliked video that I've posted of all time here, because I know this is gonna be a video people are gonna come in here with strong opinions. And listen, I am not by any means saying that my word here is like the end all of opinions, okay? All this video is it is me explaining my opinion on the Ducati Multistrada versus the BMW GS. Alright, and two different motorcycles. I prefer one over the other. I might be a little biased because I do own a Ducati, but I have also ridden the BMW GS, both the GS 1250 and the GS 1250 Adventure. So I wanted to talk about a few of the differences, and you know, if you want to dislike the video because whatever, BMW on top, that's fine. Just my opinion. It's not meant to be taken that seriously. And I will start off by saying I think the BMW GS and GS Adventure, I think they are both really, really great bikes. I would happily, if somebody offered me one, I would take it without a doubt. Even if someone offered me one for like a really good deal, I would if I had the same year, same model, or comparative model, right? So the GS Adventure, if I had a 2016 GS Adventure, same miles, compared to my Ducati Multistrada Enduro being offered to me, exact same price, it would be hard for me to say which one I would actually take if I had them side by side. I'm not sure if I would go with the Ducati all the time, but with that being said, I do have the Ducati. I got it for a very good deal. I'm going to talk about some of the reasons that at this point I like the Ducati Multistrada Enduro more than the BMW equivalent. So number one, with this bike, these bikes I should say, being designed to sort of handle everything, you got to plan on them being at least doing a little bit of off-road. And one thing with the BMW is they did a weird thing with their front suspension and did sort of this weird like triple tree T-bone like suspension sort of thing. It's really weird, and I mean, I'll give them credit for doing something different with their motorcycle. And to me, when I rode the BMW GSA, it just kind of felt not all that, it was not what I was hoping for. It felt a little disconnected from the feel of the road, and I'm guessing that had to do somewhat with that suspension setup. So one of the main things I like better about the Ducati is you just have straight up electronic suspension here, just standard forks, no weird T-bone setup or anything like that. And I feel like the suspension on the Ducati is definitely a bit better than what you get on the BMW. I like the road feel you get more with the Ducati, and I think that the feeling that you get when you are riding it off-road is a lot better also. The second thing, like, and this is the biggest, by far the biggest aspect for me, why I choose Ducati, why I would choose any Ducati Multistrada over the BMW equivalents. We're talking about two different engines, right? We're talking about either like Ducati's twin, or if you're looking at the newer Multistradas, they're V4. Ducati makes some freaking awesome engines, and I love the power that these engines make. Way more, quite frankly, than what you get with the BMW. BMW, you get a lot of torque, you get that nice boxer engine, but the boxer engines, and I mean, like, a lot of people say, yeah, they have a lot of character. To me, it just doesn't feel that way. I don't think that they have, maybe they have character, but it's just not the character that I want, and not the power delivered in the way that I want. And they're pretty quiet. I like my bikes to have a little bit of sound, or at least have the potential to have some pretty good sound to them. You can put a full system exhaust on this Ducati, and it's going to really give you quite the sound. Whereas with the BMW, I've heard them with full exhaust systems. I'm just not impressed. On the topic of the engine, again, it's, you know, they make different types of power. When you're looking at the Ducati, you're looking at higher horsepower, slightly lower torque, and certainly when you do get the torque, it's higher in the rev range. And so a lot of people prefer the BMW for the sake of making more torque low down in the rev range. For me personally, I mean, again, I rode them both. I rode the 1250 BMW, and I have ridden this Ducati 1200 Multistrada Enduro for quite some time now, and frankly, I just like the power that the Ducati makes better. A lot of people say that they feel similar in how they make their power. I disagree with that. I think that the Ducati just makes way more fun power, right? The Ducati, to me, feels more like a supermoto, whereas the BMW, or it can feel like a supermoto, whereas the BMW just feels like a tried and true adventure bike. Another thing that I like more about the Ducati than the BMW, I mean, these are tall bikes. These are all tall bikes. There's no doubt about that. No two ways about that. The way BMW goes about solving that problem for shorter riders such as myself is they offer literally a full shorter motorcycle. They shorten the whole bike, right? So reduce suspension travel. They lower the whole bike. The way Ducati handles that problem, Ducati doesn't lower the whole bike. If you want to lower Ducati, you get a lower seat. They sell a tall seat, a medium seat, and a low seat for their Multistrada. So you just go online and buy yourself a low seat, and there you go. You have a lower bike. It's not going to affect the handling at all. It's not going to change the ergonomics really. And I like that feature also because you're basically going to have a better resale value for the bike. Because when you get, let's say you buy a BMW GS 1250 low, then you're basically stuck with it being low. There's no easy way that I know of to change it to being a high model. So if you have somebody who is like, whatever, a standard height or tall person, then suddenly you're not really in the market for those people anymore. It limits the size of the market that is going to be interested in buying your bike if you ever decide to sell it used. Whereas Ducati Multistrada, it doesn't matter, whoever it is. You basically get to capture the full market instead of limiting yourself by saying, oh, my bike is a short model or low model, or my bike is a standard model, whatever. And the last part that I want to talk about here, as far as stuff that I like on Ducati better than the BMW, one thing that I like, it's a big point here, is it feels to me like the Ducati Multistrada, even the Enduro version, right, or Pikes Peak, whatever version of the Ducati Multistrada you get, it feels to me like you can really customize it to be whatever type of bike you want. If you want to do more urban riding, you can customize it to feel more like a supermoto. If you want to do more off-road, you can obviously make it feel more like a dual sport. If you want to make it you know, exclusively for highway riding or for touring, you can load it up with all sorts of luggage, and it's a real easy motorcycle to modify to be whatever you want. You can even modify, you know, you can put really good track tires on here and take it to the track and be doing track days with it. It certainly has the power. So it feels to me like when I was looking at the aftermarket and sort of what you can change in the BMW, I feel like again, it's almost a limiting factor in regard to the engine, because that's a great engine for touring, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be a great engine for when you want to do other stuff. I guess the bottom line that it really comes down to for me, largely, is I feel like it's really the power. It comes down to largely the difference in power. And again, it's not that I don't like the BMW, but for me, having that extra horsepower, having 160 horsepower on tap with this Ducati is quite fun. It really is quite fun, and it complements the bike really nicely, and it's something that you just don't get with the BMW. And you can argue whatever. I'm not sure the new BMW GS 1300 has, I don't know how much power. More power than the last bike, but guess what? Ducati still has them beat with their new V4 engine. So whatever generation of the GS to Multistrada you're comparing, the Ducati is always going to be making more power, basically. It's a weird thing, and I would say in most situations I would prefer more torque over horsepower, but for whatever reason on this bike it just feels really good. I like how this bike feels better than the BMW. One last bonus here for why I like this Ducati Multistrada better than the BMW is the service intervals. You get like, I think 8,000 miles longer on the service intervals of the Ducati, almost for everything, like oil and valve checks, belt changes, everything. You get, you know, I mean, the BMWs are a bit more service intensive, which is kind of strange really, because they have a shaft drive, so you would think that with that shaft drive they would be aiming for better intervals between the maintenance, but it just doesn't seem that way when I look at it on paper and compare the two. The shaft drive is a nice feature though, I will admit. Shaft drive, you basically just leave it and never have to worry about it, except for when you do like your yearly maintenance, you just inspect it. Whereas on the chain, obviously the Ducatis are all chain driven, and you gotta take care of that chain. Definitely important. So that's basically my opinions on the two bikes, and it basically goes across the board, all the Multistradas versus all the BMW GS models. Sort of in comparison, that's basically how I feel about them now. I've ridden several of each, and I prefer the Ducati, but if you guys made it this far in the video, you are part of the 1% of people who statistically made it this far in the video, so go ahead and leave a comment down below and be sure to mention that you're part of the 1% that made it this far. Just put 1% and I'll know what you're talking about. But I am curious to know what your opinion is. Do you prefer the GS, or do you prefer the Multistrada, and for what reason? Okay, because I'm not saying that my opinion here is like the ultimate opinion. I really want to know some other people's opinions. I'm hoping that there's some people out there who are going to comment and say I prefer the BMW because of X, Y, and Z. So please leave some comments, let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to have sort of opposing views on motorcycles so that we can talk about it. And I mean, at the end of the day, they're all great motorcycles, all fun to ride. It's all a good time. So thank you guys once again for dropping by, watching this video. Be sure to drop a comment down below, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, or if you did not like it, hit the dislike button, I guess. Up to you. Alright guys, appreciate you watching. New videos every Friday and Monday, so if you want more videos like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, ride safe.